Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Magic Beans podcast. This is episode number 172. I'm going to be your host for this episode. My name is Cracker, and I'm joined by my mate, as always in recent times, Chewy. How you doing?
Good, mate. How are you?
I'm good. Welcome back.
So, old mate Shorty is
looking at big rocks.
Some big rock in the middle of nowhere. So having a great time. They're loving it. I was talking to his wife, trying to set up a photo shoot, and Cat Bear House Photography on Facebook. If you're not really following that, the red dust is getting in the blood already. So they'll be back to the outback. It gets you.
That's awesome. 10 out of 10 would recommend Kat. She's a fantastic photographer.
Yeah, she's great.
Had all my family photos done there. Very, very good. But
super cool.
Speaking of plugs and people who are very, very good, Kat unfortunately doesn't sponsor the podcast.
Not yet.
But we've got some other friends who do. Yeah.
Josh and Pat's MTG. They are a Facebook auctions on Facebook. And jump on there. They do claim lots. They do Win It Now posts. There's a huge amount of giveaways. They just hit a milestone of 5,000 followers on Facebook, and as such, they're giving away $5,000 worth of stuff. So jump over to jpmtgbazaar.com.au for the details on how to enter that competition. $5,000 free stuff, and you get a bunch of like good priced Magic cards in it, and it's amazing. And actually on our Discord, which the link in the show notes, Ty's one of our mods, put up a trade offer today, and he was like, you get cardboard, Pat gets to sponsor dope tournaments.
That's it.
Which kind of sums up what we do, right?
Exactly. Did you see the post that was before that though, from Joffrey Bieber, who was like, I finally got onto Josh and Pat's, and I might have to say this is the worst thing to happen to me financially.
It's like the Joe Exotic. I'm never going to... Yeah.
It's exactly
right.
He's like... It's
so we're always going to spend money on Magic cards, because that's what we do.
Yeah.
But if you buy them from Josh and Pat's, because the prices are so good and their full-time auction means that you get second to none communication and shipping, you get more Magic cards for your money. And that's what we want. We're Magic players. We love value. So literally, buying from Pat is like getting a 2-for-1, because you get more Magic. You get more Magic cards.
You do, because you get the free tokens as well.
Exactly. And you can get the Magic Bean sponsored ones, and not the threat and the turns counter, as well as, elves and goblins and all the rest of it. It's like, why would you go anywhere else?
I don't know, man. I don't know. All right. So, bit of a big news week we've had since we last spoke. We knew that there was some Eldraine previews coming up that we are definitely going to talk about. But Wizards kind of just went, here you go. And just like roadmapped the next 12 months or so. It might even be more for Magic sets that are coming out. And there's a lot. And they're kind of all over the place. They're very
the universes beyond are going they're going deep.
Very, very deep.
And then there's like main set ones which are different. Something that we have not seen before in Magic, which is kind of cool and interesting. Some people are losing their tiny minds over it, but
no, are they?
But they're Magic players.
Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the sets that we've got previewed. So we're going to have Ravnica Remastered. So this will be out in 2024.
People don't like Ravnica. It's never been successful. I don't know why they keep going back.
No. The remastered sets have always been really good. Then we've got Murders at Karlov Manor, which is, like a murder mystery thing. Sort of a horror themed, but not in the same way, Innistrad way. And apparently in the same sort of time frame, there's going to be like a Clue game as well.
Nice.
So I don't think it's actually like Clue specifically, but something adjacent.
Okay, but Karlov Manor, I believe is that not in the Innistrad plane, but this is a story that happens within the Innistrad plane. It's not part of the main sort of Innistrad Eldrazi shenanigans.
So,
yeah. So it's like expanding the Innistrad plane.
Yeah.
Which is kind of cool, right? I rate that.
Yeah, no, it'll be good.
Yeah.
Then we've got Fallout, so as part of our Universes Beyond. Then I don't know. I've never played any of the Fallout games. Have you? Did you?
I've played one, and they're great. I'm not like a hugely, dedicated, not hugely invested in the franchise, but they're cool. It's you emerge from a vault after a nuclear war and you search the wasteland. It's a bit of a looter shooter. It's a bit of an RPG and cool storylines, lots of character customization options. So you'd probably like it, but it's not something I love, but I certainly think it's cool. Yeah.
I just know there's like Pip-Boy and, suits and things and yeah. And, so this won't be a main set like the Lord of the Rings has been. So it's not going to be sort of the tentpole, as they call it. That one's saved for something else, which I think people are very excited about, which again, I've never played. But after that, we've got Outlaws of Thunder Junction. We have got a Wild West Magic set.
Cowboys.
Yeah.
So this is pretty interesting. So it's going to be like a bit of a Weird West type thing, maybe a bit of steampunk going on. And there are from some of the promos I've seen, there's some silhouettes that are very familiar, like Jace Raska type famous level silhouettes. So Cowboy Jace, sure.
Great.
We've seen, technology in Magic, because like you instantly go, but that's not like Magic high fantasy. We had the Urza Saga set where there was like literally dudes in mechs, right? Like power armor's a card. So it's not actually that far departed from Magic's core when you actually think about it, when you get over that initial reaction. And you and I have played the roleplay game called Deadlands, right? Which is, think if you've ever played Call of Cthulhu, imagine, or any other sort of horror-based game, imagine that, but it's a Western. So you get your cowboys and all of your, cliche Western guys, crazy preachers and natives and all the rest of it. And then you get like all the weird and wonderful creatures and mutants and whatnot that come with it. And it works really well. So I'm actually looking forward to this as a plane. That's the word I'm looking for a plane that they can explore. So yeah, I think it could be cool. Guns as an equipment or something might be interesting. I'm interested to see how they do that from a thematic. How they do it from a mechanical perspective.
I agree, but once you have like Crystalline Giant and you've got like actual Mecha Godzilla and stuff like that, I think we've jumped the shark in terms of not having guns show up on Magic art.
Very true.
So there's definitely ways around it. Also, I was just looking through the article here, and Call of Mana is from Ravnica. It's not in Australia.
Oh, not in Australia. Okay.
Yes, so it fits in kind of for that plane.
Yep.
And it's not a set revolving around guilds, which will be interesting.
Okay.
And the Clue edition is a multiplayer form of Magic to welcome fans of Magic and Clue. So interesting. So then, yes, the Thunder Junction. That'd be cool. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm legitimately looking forward to it.
Yeah.
There's some things that I'm just interested to see kind of how they tackle certain tropes.
Sure.
But there's some fun design space to sort of go into. And I wonder, with recent sets that have been set on a particular thing in, a bit of pop culture or whatever, or actual history, they brought in cultural consultants. I wonder, have they brought in people that actually understand, historians that understand how things were in the Wild West, or are they just going full fantasy Wild West? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know the answer to that, but interested.
They've hired Clint Eastwood, and he's come on to...
Oh, great.
Feeling lucky, punk. Well,
yeah.
Oh, wait, that's not
He was
even
a cop in that movie. I get it.
Whatever.
Yeah.
All right, so the next one, Modern Horizons 3, is going to be in quarter 2 of 2024. It's all right. Good news, because if you look at the part of the art, Emrakul, she's in the art for. So
is it a
MH3.
reprint?
Nope.
Modern Horizons.
Modern Horizons. Or? No. Modern Horizons is the all new cards.
So new Emrakul.
Yeah. So Modern Masters was the reprint sets.
Okay.
And the Modern Horizons are the the new one. So yeah, if
the
you have a look,
Ragavan Solitude sets.
Yes, exactly. So probably won't have much of an impact on modern. They tend to be pretty
underpowered. Yeah,
yeah, Hogak and like there's always like really good reprints in these too, but it'll be really interesting. I saw.
Yeah, I look at this one with a higher level of apprehension. The ones we've got and the others, just based on history. Like I see Ravnica, it excites me. Ravnica Remastered. All of the Ravnica sets in one draft format. Oh my gosh, that's awesome, right? Expanding the Ravnica universe through Call of Mana, love it. Like I've read the Ravnica novels, it's really cool. We should play the Ravnica D&D campaign. Fallout, cool. Cowboy Jace, I'm on board. More Hogaks, Solitudes, and Ragavans. I'm less excited, but
I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I actually think that the problem with... No, not the problem. The thing with Modern is that it was very difficult for big change to come through, right? Because the cards had to rotate in through Standard. And so this gives the opportunity for Modern to get big shake-ups. And some of the cards are definitely egregious. I'm not going to try and say that they're not. But there's a lot of really interesting stuff that comes out of this too. So I think it'll be fun. And look,
so
more Eldrazi for your Eldrazi Tron deck. How can you be mad about this?
Yeah, well, yeah, because that deck's really viable at the moment. But so here's my issue with the way that Modern Horizons sets go, and little bit of a old man yells at clouds moment. So warning, but why don't people play Legacy?
Because they can't afford to.
Yeah. Okay. So how much did you spend on your first Modern deck versus? Like, the trend is... We're not at Legacy point by any stretch, but the barrier to entry for Modern, because of the introduction of the Horizon sets, is going up and up and up. And one of the reasons...
disagree. And I'm going to cut you off right there so I can get in. Jund, when I started playing Living End, was an $1,800 deck. You had Liliana of the Veil, you had Tarmogoyfs, you had these cards that cost an absolute fortune. Now, are there cards now that cost a lot? Ragavan's $60, Solitudes $30.
Hang on. Yes. So they reprinted Ragavan. When Ragavan came out, when Modern Horizons 2 or whichever one he came out in came out, Ragavan was well over $100.
Sure.
Right? So because not many people bought it, not many people cracked it and all the rest of it. It wasn't until multiple years later, that the price came down.
But that was true with Tarmogoyf. That was a $100 card for 5 years until they decided to reprint it into the ground.
Yes, but they're not going to reprint Ragavan or Solitude into the ground. It's still a $60 card where Tarmogoyf is sub $10 now. Yeah,
it's because Tarmogoyf isn't good anymore because Modern Horizons 2 happened.
yes. So
I don't know that you can make the point that Modern is bad because it costs more now. Modern is always expensive. Decks are $1,000. Like, they just are.
Yeah, but you can have a deck that you spend $1,000 on, right? And you play it, and then it gets completely obsoleted by Modern Horizons 3, 2, 1. Because we've seen that happen 3 times. Well, 2 times already, right? So making the assumption that it's going to happen again with H3... history says it's most likely going to happen. And then you have to go and spend another $1,000 on a deck that you hope is not going to be obsoleted. And that turns people off the format. Like, the reason Modern was so popular, the reason that it became so popular in the first place is because you could build your deck, tweak your deck as cards came in, but you could remain with the same archetype. You could get really, really good at it. And that's something we've talked about multiple times on the cast. Like, you're better off playing, a deck that you're really familiar with than jumping from deck to deck without the repetition. But the Horizon sets undermine that. And I get they want to make a shake-up, but I think they've moved the needle too far. They've turned the dial up too much. So I hope maybe third time's a charm. They can shake up Modern, make things interesting without obsoleting whole archetypes.
Yeah,
making people having to spend $1,000. Look, they're in the business of making money and spending.
I get what you're saying, but like Tron won the most recent PT, and it won the previous one, which was 4 years ago. Amulet Titan has been a deck for 6 years. right? That was in the top 8. So there are still like Merfolk jokes, joking, but Merfolk had like the highest overall win rate.
I don't think,
but like Scam definitely came in and dominated, right? Like that was a whole new thing.
But I don't
you
think you can look at a Pro Tour metagame and think that is wholly representative of the bread and butter. That's like saying, Tom Hawkins can kick a ball from 60 meters after the siren and kick a goal. He's not an example of your average person who plays Australian rules. Your average person who plays Australian rules football plays Division 3 reserves on a Saturday morning at your local park. That's what we have with Modern. But if all of a sudden...
then why do they care? Because they're not playing against that guy then. So they're not getting bumped to the AFL. They're not playing in the Pro Tour.
No, but if an AFL player, somebody who doesn't have the limit on their budget, rocks up, if Tom Hawkins rocks up to your Divi 3 reserves match, he's going to kick 15 goals in a quarter.
Sure.
And everybody else is going to be, because somebody else, so when those sets come out, there is a time, and that time may be literal years where people are miserable until things get reprinted or things settle down or people figure it out. And because Modern takes so long to shake up, it can cause people to be turned off Modern.
It can, but outside of Commander, Modern is still the most played format in Paper Magic by a long way.
Yeah, it's because Standard sucks and no one can afford to play Legacy. So,
well, maybe.
So
maybe.
that's not that's more of an indictment on the other formats and an argument for Modern though. But yeah, anyway, so we can revisit Modern Horizons.
That's good. I like that there's
to the set coming
difference of opinion. So that's kind of mid next year. So we're still 12 months away from that.
We've got 6 months, 12 months to argue about that.
So many other things coming out. We've got Assassin's Creed as the next universe.
This is a game you've played.
I played a lot of Assassin's Creed games. I really like them.
Yep.
I appreciate that they're not for everyone. They're a little repetitive. They're usually very pretty. Like the most recent ones, the Ancient Greece and the Egyptian one. I haven't played the Viking one, and I know there's a new Middle East one coming out, which looks cool. But
cool.
They're fun, and they fit pretty well because ignoring the weird fact that you're actually in a machine traveling through.
Yeah, I watched the Michael Fassbender movie, and I was like, strange. Yeah. But I haven't played the games, but I like the premise, and yeah, it's.
I just don't know how successful it's going to be. Like, as much as I like Assassin's Creed, and as much as I like Magic, I don't go, oh yeah, those two hand in hand. Like that makes a lot of sense.
Do you think there's probably, and I haven't looked at the numbers, but do you think there's as many Assassin's Creed fans, Fallout fans?
No idea.
Because remember, Assassin's Creed's on console, which is super popular too, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I don't know. I think that the Fallout fans are more fanny than the Assassin's Creed ones. There's a guy at my work who's got he had a Fallout gaming chair, and he's got all the Funko Pops and there's all that, and I don't know that I see that.
Fallout players are quite invested. Where and maybe this is me making assumptions about console gamers because I'm not one, but are console gamers more casual gamers that just go, this is a fun game that's pretty and I like playing it, rather than identifying themselves as gamers, if that makes sense? Is there a significant portion of the console gaming community that aren't hardcore gamers like a PC gamer? Because the nature of consoles is you can kind of pack it away and you don't have to have a whole desk or dedicated to it. So it's in itself a more casual pursuit, because you just want to play the game because it's fun, rather than, Fallout where you're right into it, really in depth and things. Perhaps, I don't know.
Maybe. But then you've got games like Skyrim and stuff like that, which are super in depth and people get crazy deep onto, which is
I didn't realize that was on console.
Yeah, that's where it started.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I've played Skyrim, and my wife's played 3,000 hours of Skyrim on PC. I didn't realize it was on console. There you go. Okay, cool.
So the next set is one I'm actually quite excited for. So this one is called Bloom Burrow, and this is another new plane, and it's a world, as I've described it, a world showing off anthropomorphic animals with no humans. So there are 0 humans. So the base stat that they've given for this is that a mouse is a 1/1. Now,
Oh, okay.
The reason I'm really excited for this is when I was about 9, I didn't read books. Like, I just wasn't interested. And my mum found this series of books called Redwall, which I started reading. And it is this. This is what it's based on. So it is literally like the main characters are mice and badgers and stoats and ferrets and hares. And like, it's all English woodland creatures. And so there's a series of probably like a dozen or 13
Like Wind
books.
in the Willows, right?
Kind of, but they have like epic battles and feasts and stuff. And they have these big adventure stories. But there's no people. They are all like woodland creatures. And so this just like they could have named it Redwall. Like, literally the main character in that is a guy called Martin, right? He's a mouse and he's like got a sword and stuff. And like the art for this is a little mouse
That's
holding
clearly
a
drawn
sword,
the inspiration from that, right? Yeah,
facing
okay.
down a wolf. So that will be, I hope that's good. I'm interested. And plus,
Okay.
let's get away from humans and spirits and things. Let's mix it up with some little creatures.
I like it. One more on their plan is Duskmore, House of Horror. Okay, what do we know about this one? I'm not going to call that an Eldrazi on the art.
Nope.
I think it's a bit different.
Nope.
But-
So it's top-down horror, modern horror is the way they've said. So think 70s and 80s horror movie where the whole world takes place inside a giant mansion.
Wow. Like Spam in a Can type thing. And you think about any sort of horror movie from that, be it like sci-fi or, just real life setting. That was a really popular thing. It's just like, the teenagers in a house at a party. There's the, xenomorphs chasing people on spaceships.
Yeah.
Okay. So, I like it.
And so they're saying it'll be different to the Innistrad or Phyrexian sets. So I think that means new big bads is always cool.
Yeah, I wonder if we're going to see like Thunder Junction and Duskmore all start a new overarching story arc.
They've said that for this set as well, right? So that Eldraine is the start of the new
Oh, they
arc.
are saying that. Yeah, okay. I hadn't seen that. Seen that written. So, yeah, okay, cool.
So I don't know how far it extends. I don't remember that part off the top of my head. But yeah, it's certainly the start of the next big sort of story arc after the Phyrexian saga has completed. So there's one more Universes Beyond, which isn't in this document, but they are, and the next tentpole one is going to be Final Fantasy. And so Final Fantasy will be the same as, and I think this might even be 2025.
Okay. Early 2025.
I think this will be this. It's the same as the Lord of the Rings, so it will be a full-on set, like in replace of the modern Horizons sort of slot. So what do they call that? The summer set, I think in 25 is when that one will be.
I haven't played a single Final game, so
me neither.
It'd be an introduction to the universe for me, I guess. So yeah.
I just know there's a dude called Cloud who has the Buster Sword, which is like the
sword that's twice as big as him, right? Is that that's the imagery I'm thinking
exactly
of?
the one.
Okay.
Yeah, so they've all got like massive oversized weaponry. Anyway, so that's what we've got. Sort of
reprint Colossus Hammer.
reprint Embercleave. Speaking of Embercleave, Eldraine.
Yeah.
So
coming out in a couple of weeks.
Yeah, we've got a lot of cards already. Like they've kind of just thrown
a lot of
heaps
cards previewed. We've got some cards that we've trolled through, perused the Scryfall page. So I know there's been some leaks. We're not going to talk about them. Honestly, not looked at leaks. I've only looked at the official. I think. I hope. And I'm excited about what I'm seeing. There's some really cool cards. There's some cool callbacks, extensions of the storyline, some other like fairy tale references that we didn't get in the first one that are revisited. But before we get into that, how does it work? Let's talk mechanics.
So there's some new ones and there's some recurring ones, as we would expect. So I guess one thing to mention is that they've included a thing called Enchanting Tales, which is 63 they've called it fan favorite enchantments. in storybook art frames and things. So these will be in boosters. I don't know which ones because there's 11 types of boosters. I imagine I imagine it'll be like set and collectors. I don't think they'll be in draft boosters, but hey, I could be wrong. They've got a different set symbol and expansion code. So the set code is WOE, right? Wilds of Eldraine. These are called WOT, so the tails, I guess it means. They're not standard legal. They're only legal in whatever set they are. Well, format they're legal in. So
yeah. So the example that they give here is necropotence. Yeah. Necropotence will not be standard legal
or pioneer.
Because Sheoldred and necropotence. Let's go. Yeah.
But you don't draw cards though.
Yeah, but it's a really strong black card.
That's true.
Arguably if not in the top 3 black cards ever.
Sure.
Like DT, VT, this Dark Ritual, right?
Mm-hmm.
Off the top of my head, but yeah, we don't want that in.
No. Necropotence is not a fair card.
No, it is
not at all.
Great art.
Excellent. So, mechanics-wise, there's a new thing called roll tokens. So there's 6 of these in the set. They're all going to come on different cards. So they'll come on, like creatures or, a spell. And they're all auras. So they're all enchant creatures. And it'll be a different roll that is attached. So there's Cursed, Monster, Royal, Sorcerer, Wicked, and Young Hero. They've all got a bunch of different... they're kind of keyworded, but the way that
then the commander precons one, but we'll get to that.
Yeah, exactly. So there's one called Virtuous, but I don't think we'll chat about the commander stuff particularly. So the way that they work is a creature can have more than one role, but only from multiple players. So you can have a creature that has a monster role, right, from you. And then, so it would get +1/+1 and trample. And then instead you could have it get the sorcerer role, which gets +1/+1. And whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. But if you do that, the monster role will fall off. But if someone has enchanted it with one of the other ones, like Wicked, it can be a Wicked sorcerer or a Wicked monster or something like that.
So if you've got a, gingerbread thing with monster, it gets +1/+1, has trample. But then if I go, I'm going to curse that, and it has base power 1/1. So if your thing was a 2/2 with +1/+1 becomes a 3/3, I'm going to then make it a 1/1, but your monster one will stay on and it'll be...
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Different way to do creature auras, creature enchantment type. Exploring the space.
Yeah. It's interesting.
Don't hate it.
So, Cursed, as you said, becomes a base power and toughness 1/1. Monster gets +1/+1 and trample. Royal gets +1/+1 and ward 1. Sorcerer gets +1/+1, and whenever this creature attacks, scry 1. Wicked is +1/+1. Notice the theme here. And when this aura is put into the graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses 1 life. And then Young Hero is slightly different, but it's whenever this creature attacks, if its toughness is 3 or less, put a +1/+1 counter on it.
Okay, a bit like a training.
Yep.
The other one.
One of those many.
The same thing. Yeah.
Okay. There's a whole stack. So that's the first one. And then they've got token cards, because they're not going to be physical auras like Daybreak Coronet or Rancor, or I'm trying to think of whatever a newer one is, but like the classic sort of thing where it's an actual card in your hands that you cast and put underneath. So there'll be a token enchantment that comes in as part of something else.
Okay.
Pretty straightforward, but they will go to the graveyard and things, right? Because they're still tokens, they still go to the graveyard before they vanish.
Okay. So if you've got synergies, triggers, that
happens. Yeah, exactly. Well, so the Wicked one, specifically, it says when this aura is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, each opponent loses life. So
I imagine you'll get... And they've got an example here of looks like a card that's got, it looks a bit like the flip cards from the real Kamigawa, but it is, sorcerer and monster on it. So you'd be able to tuck that under your card like you would an aura. So you would have, monster above your, so it was fairly easy to track on the table. And I imagine the arena client treat it like it's a card.
Yeah, exactly.
Yep. Okay, I like it. And these will come in boosters, so you've got your
they're just
your pre-release and such.
Exactly.
Yep.
They'll be the replacement for like a rules card or whatever other things they randomly put in.
Yep. Okay.
So the next one is called Bargain, and Bargain is cool. So it's kicker.
Yep.
Because everything is kicker.
Yep.
But it says Bargain. You may sacrifice an artifact, enchantment, or token as you cast this spell. So the example here is Troublemaker Oof. It's a 1 and a green for a 2/2, right? It has Bargain. So when it ETBs, if it was bargained, exile target artifact or enchantment an opponent controls. So it can be
Seems
a vanilla
good in
2-mana
go
2/2.
wide strategies.
Yeah, it's just a common.
Yep.
Yes, correct. So I mean, obviously, we're back in Eldraine. There's lots of food. There's lots of things making treasures this time as well, from what I've seen. And then there are going to be a whole stack of token makers and the like too. So
so you have incidental things like you're going to have a 1/1 lying around that's outclassed by your
or just
turn it into a disenchant.
Yeah, a food that you want to do something with. So and then there's examples. So it's not just creatures; it's also instants and sorceries. There's kind of a whole bunch of stuff. So there's
great. Sorry, I just read.
Heavy is the head that wears the base.
Yeah.
Yes.
like
so the next,
Sorry,
it's
interrupt.
fine. It's fine. The next one's Torch the Tower, which is red for an instant. Hello, Shorty. It says Torch the Tower deals 2 damage to target creature or planeswalker. If this spell was bargained, instead it deals 3 damage to that permanent, and you scry 1. And additionally, if a permanent dealt damage by Torch Tower would die this turn, exile it instead. So
that
the
second
bargain
paragraph, that second paragraph happens whether you've bargained or not.
Correct. Yeah, exactly. So it's 2 mana. It's 1 mana deal 2 exile, or it's 1 mana sacrifice something, enchantment, token, or artifact, and then it's lightning bolt, scry 1, exile. But it is only creature or planeswalker, so you can't target. You can't go face.
Still very good.
It
very
is
cheap,
very
efficient
good.
removal.
I'm trying to think. What was there? There was a red instant that dealt 2 and exiled from a few sets ago. That saw a lot of play.
Flame something.
Yeah. That's a pretty good guess.
Yeah.
it's a red burn spell.
I can picture the art. I can't remember that. Yeah.
Anyway, yes. All right. So the next one is Celebration. So Celebration is when 2 non-land permanents have entered the battlefield this turn, something will happen. So the example here is Ash, the Party Crasher. She is red and a white for a 2/2, a legendary creature human peasant. Chewy, I don't know if you've worked out who this one is. It's Cinderella, looks like. Crashing the party. And so she has haste.
Ash. I get that.
Yeah, there you go. So she has Celebration. So whenever Ash, Party Crasher, attacks, if 2 or more non-land permanents enter the battlefield under your control this turn, put a +1/+1 counter on Ash.
Okay.
So they don't have to be from the same effect. So that could be a token maker and a creature, or a creature. I'm thinking of like the goose, which
or prosperous innkeeper type effects, where
Exactly.
this thing comes in, you get a food, or you get a treasure, or you get a 1/1. Yep. We see that all the time. Here's a 4 mana 2/2 comes into play, make them.
Mm-hmm.
So those sorts of effects we see all the time. Okay, I like it.
Yeah. So that will be the keyword here. So it's 2 or more non-land permanents into the battlefield under your control this turn. So Ash is obviously very specifically saying when it attacks, then Celebration triggers. So it's got to be in your pre-combat main phase, effectively. But I imagine there'll be other things that just have it as like a triggered ability, or during your end step or something like
when
that.
you get this, you gain a life, or when you get this, whatever.
Yeah, lots of different ways and timings that you can kind of play with that, which will be fun to work out.
Okay.
Adventures are back. Sorry, did you have something else about Celebration?
Just before we move on from Celebration, I'm worried that this is going to be yet another red-white aggressive draft format. That's my first gut impression, maybe because we've seen a lot of red-white draft archetype things that haven't been in the past. I'm hoping it's not. I'm hoping it's good. I hope we don't end up in the same boat again. But anyway, Adventures. They're
back. They work exactly the same
Wouldn't
as they did
be
last
Eldraine
time.
without them, honestly.
No.
Yeah.
It's great. Like, I think we have a much better idea of how to evaluate these things now. The answer is they're all pretty good.
I remember
idea.
discussing on the cast, and I'm like, I think Bone Crusher Giant's all right, guys. Yeah, it's not as efficient, but it is 2 cards in one, so it's kind of like a modal card, but you get both modes. And we weren't sure, right? But turns out Bone Crusher Giant's legit.
Oh, man.
And has been for a long time, right?
The one for me was Brazen Borrower. And I was like, why is this card a mythic? It's a Vapor Snag and a 3/1 flash. They're both...
It's a Vapor Snag and a 3/1 flash.
I've played so much of that card. Anyway, the Brazy Bee is not back. Bone Crusher is not back so far as I've seen. But there's a whole bunch. So we've got a bunch of cards we actually want to talk about. And there are definitely some adventures in there. So I don't think I need to explain those particularly.
Yeah, we know how they work.
You cast them, they go to exile, then you cast the creature side. Okay, so cards. Chewy, you've got a few down. I've got a few down as well. So we kind of like to do this. We don't always think... Just let's preface this. We're not saying that these are the best cards in the set. These are just things that as we're scrolling around, like maybe the art's captured our eye, or like the flavor of it seems really cool. We think there's a powerful spot there somewhere. We have no idea if these cards are good or not, right? But
no, these are cards that are interesting at very least, or are cards that are, they may be good in Commander, or they may be good in Draft. That's always a lens that I evaluate new sets for, because I love me some. Or you may look at it and go, I think this card's bonkers. We're not saying each of these cards fits into one or more, or any of the categories of, best cards going.
No.
But these are cards that we want to talk about. And we have a podcast talking about Magic cards, so we're allowed to do that.
So we get to do that, and you get to listen. Lucky everybody.
Exactly. So Craterhoof Behemoth is a good Magic card, right?
It's real good.
Yeah. It's a legacy staple. Every green deck and Commander plays it. It's fun to play in Cube. All the rest of it. It's a finisher.
It's the best green finisher.
Yeah, with a capital finish, right? So now there's a white one. So Moonshaker Cavalry is 5 and 3 white, so 8 mana for a 6/6 flyer. She's expensive. But when Moonshaker Cavalry enters the battlefield, creatures you control gain flying and get plus X until end of turn, where X is a number of creatures. So instead of trample and haste, they get flying. So probably not as good, and a white isn't as good at ramping and cheating things into play as green is. But this is definitely the Craterhoof Behemoth at home a little bit, but it's really powerful, and this will be legal in formats that Craterhoof isn't, and may find a home in potentially Pioneer or Explorer, or maybe even Standard. I'm not sure. I'll absolutely play this in Sealed.
Yeah, for sure.
But yeah, it's cool. Like it's a white Craterhoof. Like it's worth talking about. So it's not as good as Craterhoof.
The biggest downside with this is just that it's so much harder to get to 8 mana in white than it is in green.
Yes.
That is just like the easiest thing to point to. Well, no, but Hoof only gave itself haste.
Yeah.
So, but this doesn't have haste at all. But it's still a 6/6 flyer. But the fact that you can just jump your team and everything gets plus...
It'll end games.
If you get everything +4/+4 an attack with 4/4 flyers, you're probably going to win. So then it's just like, okay, how do I mean, obviously I go this direction, but how do I reanimate this thing? Because there's a lot of ways to go really wide in mono white. That's one of the things that it does exceptionally well. And so if you have a token strategy that you can do,
what's the black-white return a creature that Greasefang plays?
It's like mana value 3 or less.
Oh, is it? Oh, okay.
Yeah, can't stay away.
Yeah, okay, so that doesn't work. Yeah, okay.
No, but there's the white invoke rebuys things, doesn't it?
Yes.
So that costs
5. Yep.
5, which is a lot less than 8.
But you can spend the first 4 turns making tokens.
Correct.
Right, yeah.
And working out somewhere to get this in the graveyard.
There's a 3 blind mice saga that is not on my list, but it makes like 4 tokens and then make for 3 white mana.
Yeah.
It's like make 3 tokens, make another one. So, Moonshaker Cavalry does what white want, though. Yeah, it's a big payoff. Yep.
For sure.
Yeah. What about you, mate? What have you found here that you...
The first one here is called Beseech the Mirror. So this is 3 black, black, black for a sorcery.
Okay.
And it has bargain. We're talking about bargain. So this is search your library for a card, exile it face down, then shuffle. If the spell was bargained, you may cast the exile card without paying its mana cost if the spell's mana value is 4 or less. Put the exiled card into your hand if it wasn't cast this way. So it is 4 mana for a demonic tutor at the outset, right? So we've seen demonic... Oh, what's not demonic tutor? It's not demonic consultation. There's another one that's a 5 mana diabolic tutor. That's the one I'm thinking of.
Yeah, diabolic tutor's 2 black, black, right?
I thought it was 3 black, black.
No, it's a mana.
Okay, so same thing, and it puts it into your hand. But this has the upside of you can just tutor for a 4 mana card, and if
I'm going to cast Damnation.
I mean, if you sacrifice something, you can just cast it for free. So 4 mana to find the best 4 mana spell in my deck and cast it.
Yeah,
that's
it's just 8 copies of your best card.
Exactly.
Like you've now got 8 Shieldreds, right? Or something like that. You know, it's so yeah. We think about the context of the mono black deck or the red black decks that are getting around at the moment. There's Shieldred there. You can get a removal spell. You can get a graveyard trespasser to when you pay 4 mana for a graveyard trespasser when you need one. That's fine. But if you jump onto Scryfall and look at standard cards sort by CMC, like there's some bangers in there. Like there's some cards absolutely worth
for sure. I also see this potentially going into like a blue black control shell or something like that. Esper control maybe. Obviously you have to be base black. The mana cost is prohibitive to do otherwise. Black is a lot.
I love me a tap out control board control.
Yeah.
The solar flare from back in the day. Love that stuff. Light counter suite, just to keep people honest, but if you're in Demir. But
yeah.
Like
it means that you can also play, you don't have to play 4 copies of the card you want, but you can play more of like a bullet kind of scenario. So I have a sweeper. I need to cast the sweeper, or I need to find a threat, or I need to find a piece of graveyard interaction, or whatever it is. Like, it just lets you kind of do the thing. Or you just go, I'm completely under control here. I'm going to, pay 4 mana and just go find my finisher. It costs 8 or whatever it is, like whatever the big finisher is for the deck. And you just put it in your hand and you play it next turn. So very versatile.
I like it. And obvious commander applications as well.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah. Okay, I like it.
What do you got?
I got an elf. Elvish Archivist. So it's a elf artificer, 1 and a green for a 0/1, and it says whenever one or more artifacts enter the battlefield under your control, put 2 +1/+1 counters on Elvish Archivist. This ability. Then it's got whenever one or more enchantments enter your control, draw a card. This ability turn. So it's like a fixed enchantress in a way, but it does artifacts and enchantments. So, and once each turn. So, that's it's fixed, but this is just constant source of card advantage. Perhaps a bit of a lightning rod, but, you play this, resolves, then play something else, replaces itself. If your opponent, kills it the next turn, you're still ahead. If it goes unchecked for a couple of turns, you get a few cards out of it, you're going to run away. It's pretty cool. If this is a draft archetype, then if that's looks like it will be a supported archetype in this set, then I am absolutely all for it, because it's a fun one. Like I enjoy enchantress things. I enjoy artifact things. So having a thing that kind of does both, I'm all about it.
This thing's going to get big, man, really quickly.
Yeah, it can grow really big and draw a bunch
2,
of cards.
3,
right?
4, 5, with incidental food tokens. There's just going to be a lot of stuff that's kind of
So
around.
Constructed playability, maybe, but the thing with it is like we talked about it right off the top. Things make food, things make treasures, and there may be some random enchantments and things running around. There's, the rolls are enchantments.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing's going to, go on unchecked. It's going to be very, very big and, get you ahead on cards. So I like it. It's a cool card. I'm not sure if it's going to be good, but I would like it to be. So,
Nice.
Yeah. What's next on your list?
I've got a pair of dragons I want to talk about.
Dargans.
So this first one is called Realm Scorcher Hellkite. It is 4 red for a 4/6. It's a Dargon with flying and haste, and it has bargain as well. So when it ETBs, if it was bargained, add 4 mana in any combination of colors, which is real good. And then it also has an activated ability of 1 and a red. Realm Scorcher Hellkite deals 1 damage to any target.
So fail case is
so 6 mana, 4/6 flying
dragons,
haste.
and you shoot something down, right? As well, like you do an.
You have to have bargained with it to get the extra
but you
mana.
Sacrifice a treasure, whatever.
Sure.
But then you get your 4 mana, and you go, I'll just make it red, and I'll kill your 2/2.
Yep.
Or do an extra 2 to your face, and you attack for 6 that turn, or you get to then double spell, right? Mm-hmm. And then, your celebration cards trigger because you've got 2 things, right? It's all very good. Or you go, I'm going to play this dragon and 4 drop, right? I'm going to play this dragon and beseech the mirror to go and get my thing. It's cool. Like, if Omnath has taught us anything, adding 4 mana for not that much effort is a powerful effect.
Is it? I would never have guessed. So maybe I should have started with the next dragon first, because this one costs 4 mana.
Hello.
Synergy. This one's called Decadent Dragon. And this one is actually an adventure as well. So the Decadent Dragon side is 2 red for a 4/4 with flying and trample. And whenever it attacks, create a treasure token.
Wow.
Have you met my friend Goldspan? So, obviously not as good as Goldspan. The fact that it doesn't have haste and doesn't double your treasures, but still, excellent stats. 4 mana, 4/4 dragons, really, really good.
Yep.
And then the other side of it, the adventure side, is called Expensive Taste. And it is 2 and a black for an instant. It says, exile the top 2 cards of a target opponent's library face down. You may look at and play those cards for as long as they remained exiled.
Okay, so you don't get the cast some mana of any color clause, but you get treasures from the other side of the Decadent Dragon. Oh my goodness, like mono red red black mirror type thing.
Mm-hmm.
Not bad at all.
Seems good.
Cool card, and I mean if you cast it for free off your
exactly. So you cast a Realm Scorcher, sack a treasure, beseech. Get a Decadent Dragon, cast a Decadent Dragon. That is in fact for 14 mana's worth of stuff for 4.
That is Living Dream.
It's called Magical Christmas Land, but someone will do it to me in our league, I'm sure.
Yeah, absolutely.
I won't even be mad.
Pre-release. Yeah.
Oh my goodness. So, I don't know, that would be some nutty packs, because that's 2 mythics and a rare, but someone's going to do it.
You would ask if the opponent was using some sort of sleight of hand to bring deck. So
reprint.
Which is a reprint
in
Eldraine that is cool, because I've cast a bunch of this spell over the journey, and it's a fun card. So if you haven't played Magic before 2008, Sleight of Hand is a single blue for a sword. It says, look at the top 2 cards of your library, put one of them into your hand and the other one on the So Ponder and Preordain type things, this was up there with the best of the bull. And it's still good, right? Like, this is
it's like Opt, except not instant.
Not instant and things, but it's just a good it's a good cantrip, and cantrips are good in Magic, and you should play them, and I like it. It's a good reprint. I'm happy to see it. The art's kind of quirky, and I don't know if it's going to have a place in Standard, but this will be my 23rd card in very often. So,
I'll definitely cast this card more than I should.
You will, yes.
I think it's horrible to say, but I think cantrips are nice, just in general.
Well, everything's a cantrip now, right? So,
you
like
just can't
creatures
afford
are
to
cantrips and
take
things.
turns off to not affect the board. It's just sad.
So cantrips are good on turn 1 to smooth your draws, make sure you get your third land like that.
Mm-hmm.
And they're good on turns to 5 because play or kill something and set up your next. But their role has changed, and I think that role is weaker than the normal role where you just kept going the gas that you'll. It's more about smoothing out your setup because we're playing a higher land count than we've ever played before.
It's because they're all spells too.
But yeah, well, the half of the time, yeah, absolutely. So, that's actually a really valid point. Like when we've got so many lands that do, they're not. I don't have it on my list, but there is a creature land.
Oh, there's a few.
Yeah, so I imagine there's a cycle.
Yeah, the Restless cycle. It looks like.
Yeah,
so there's like Restless Cottage, Restless Fortress. Yeah. So
yeah, and those things don't all have to be Mutavault or Treetop Village to be playable. You know, they can be a solid dual land that plays a role. And you know, we saw with the Den of the Bugbear, either Hive Tyrant things. When we first looked at those, we're like, oh, it comes in tapped half the time, and you know, but absolutely playable and good. And I remember when Raging Ravage, like Red Green's supposed to be aggressive, but man, I lost to that card a lot. So you know, if the format's right for them, they can be really, really powerful. And a dual land that comes into play tap that can also be a thing.
Yeah. All right. Yeah. So running out of time. So we've got a couple more that I wanted to talk about.
Yeah, run through your two, and then I'll just have one more to finish on.
So there's Scolding Viper, which is another adventure card. So it is.
Oh, you got a blue-red card in there?
I got it. Of course, mate. I found one. Don't worry about it. So the okay, Scolding Viper is what it's called, and the adventure side is called Steam Clean.
Okay.
Which I think is pretty funny.
Yep.
It's got steam of the Viper. Anyway, it's 1 and a blue for a bounce spell. Return target non-land permanent to its owner's hand. And then the creature side is an elemental snake, and it says, whenever an opponent casts a spell with mana value 3 or less, Scolding Viper deals 1 damage to that player. So it's like a mini Eidolon.
Yeah, a little gutter snipe thing. Yeah. Eidolon. Mini Eidolon that is also a Vapor Snake, right? So
yeah.
Yep. Seems good.
Seems like another card I'll cast too much in the hopes that it will do a lot more than it will.
If Steam Clean was an instant I'd be really excited.
Same.
Well, more excited about this card, but cool card. Very cool card. Great art.
Very cool art.
Yeah. And then you got another one here that's super cool.
Yeah, this one is
a bit of a callback.
Yeah, this one's great. This one's called Sir Ginger, the Meal Ender. So if you...
What a name.
It's fantastic. So if you watch the trailer for the original Throne of Eldraine, you will very much remember the wonderful little gingerbread lady and man that were frolicking around on a table until Garruk came along and ate them. Yeah. Well, she sought revenge with her fork of doom. She's back. Yep. She's back. She's riding a gingerbread horse, and she is a legendary artifact creature, Food Knight, which is fantastic. So it's 2 mana, colorless, for a 3/1, and it's Sir Ginger. The Meal Ender has trample, hexproof, and haste as long as an opponent controls a planeswalker. So she is out for Garruk.
She doesn't like Garruk. Oh, yeah.
It's got a whole bunch more text. So whenever another artifact you control is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Sir Ginger and scry 1. And it also has an activated ability of 2 tap, sacrifice Sir Ginger, you gain life equal to its power. So this thing feeds off food tokens. I feel terrible for saying it that way. She gets bigger from food tokens, right? Like I think that's kind of the whole shtick.
So she's cool.
Looks very cool.
She's very, very cool, and a great callback to that trailer.
Mm-hmm.
Super fun.
I think people were upset that she wasn't actually in the set. There was like Ginger Brute, which was the closest thing to it, but I think people were hoping that maybe she'd make an appearance. So
they've rectified that, which is good. Yeah.
All right.
So the card that I have held off until the end is just the end. It seems like a good one to finish the cast on, and just just a Doomblade? Really? Sort of? No. Okay, the End. 2 black instant. This spell costs 2 less to cast if your life total is 5 or less. Exile target creature or planeswalker. Okay, I'm in. Search its controller's graveyard, hand, and library for any number of cards with the same name as a permanent and adds that permanent element. That player shuffles their library, then draws a card for each card in their hand this way. So, Vraska's Contempt got played in Standard. 2 black instant, kill a thing, exchange some life, right? You gain some life. Where this, kill your thing, you don't get any more, right? And the chances of you having, a second copy in hand are not 0, but not guaranteed. They're not going to draw a card more often than they're going to draw a card. And yeah, like if it's just like, I'm going to kill your win condition. I'm going to kill that problematic creature. I'm going to, this card's good. And sure, sometimes you get it for black, but whatever. But, at 2 black instant, playable removal spell in Standard that has huge upside.
I can't believe they've bolted Surgical Extraction onto a removal spell.
Yeah. Yep. Power creep. Right.
It's insane. Also, it's Fateful Hour, Chewy. They've brought back the Fateful Hour mechanic, right? That was if you had 5 or less life, you got the extra thing.
Yeah.
Got soldier tokens or gained more life, whatever. Anyway.
And you can metagame against your friends with their relentless wreck and laugh at them.
Wow. Nice Shadowborn Apostle you've got there. Shame if something happens.
Exactly right. Exactly. Just do that once, have a laugh, take it out of your deck. That's fine. But yeah, I think this, our little disclaimer at the start was busted or anything. But I legitimately think this card is good and we'll see play, especially given how strong black is in Standard at the moment. Like it seems like a bit of a no-brainer to play this one.
Yeah, for sure. Exile is such a big game as well. Like that's...
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
That is absolutely nuts. So I feel bad because there's one more card that I saw that I wanted to talk about, which I didn't have on my list.
Okay, we've got an encore. Okay.
Yeah, we got an encore. It is the Goose Mother.
Oh, honk. Okay.
Honk, indeed. So Goose Mother is X green blue for a legendary creature, Bird Hydra. It is a 2/2. And it has flying, and the Goose Mother enters the battlefield with X +1/+1 counters on it. When the Goose Mother enters the battlefield, create half X food tokens rounded up. Whenever Goose Mother attacks, you may sacrifice a food. If you do, draw a card. This smacks very much of a fixed Hydroid Crisis.
Yes, it does. And it's a goose. It's hilarious.
The art is phenomenal, and I would highly recommend you check it out. It's been a minute since we've seen Simic big stuff, man.
Yeah. Polywaffle's excited in general about Simic big stuff. This is a Polywaffle kind of card. Actually, he's got a Hydra commander deck that'll go. This will slot right into probably just for density.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is good. Green, blue, X. For a large flyer.
Yeah, so I guess the base of it is like 3 mana 3/3 flying, make a food. Because it's X rounded up. So half of one is half rounded up is 1 still. So you know, you get that, and then when it attacks, you sacrifice a food, you do draw.
Which is great. Yeah.
Seems good.
Seems like a fun card. It'll probably see.
Yeah, I think so. So look, we have been going on for a bit. There's, like I said, there's a lot to get across. There are heaps and heaps of cards. So
yeah, jump on, have a look. We'll probably talk about some in the next cast as well because it'll be just before release.
Speaking of just before releases and Eldraine coming out, we are going to run our next league. So
yeah, it's going to happen.
It is definitely going to happen. It will be shortly after the release of Eldraine. That's when we tend to do them. So usually a week or two after. This year has been challenging for us to line up leagues with when sets have fallen because of the
insane
ring
release
set
cycle.
and all that sort of stuff. It's been a very skewed cycle, so I apologise for it not have been as clear as we like to do these things. We're still trying to work out.
We haven't had the release dates locked in as early as we've had in previous
past
years
years.
and things
Exactly.
like that. So
That's right. So we're still working out exactly what format we're going to play. It'll either be Standard or Explorer, I guess is...
I've got a poll up in
Exactly.
on the Discord. I can't remember which channel it's
I
in.
think you might have put it in the
Tournament channel.
tournament series channel. So
Yeah. So we've got a bunch of people that are kind of voting either way. And
yeah, Chewy will ping it again to sort of bring it up for people to check out in the Discord. But if we do want to know if people are interested, obviously, Standard is not everyone's favorite at the moment for the most part. So, but not everyone loves Explorer either. And, we run these things for you guys. They're not just for us to play, and we're not doing them because it's just the thing that we like to do. So give us the feedback. Let us know what you want to play so that we can set it up and we can have a lot of fun. And yeah, it'll be the last league we have for this year. We'll probably do another one-day event or two, will be the plan, before leading into the Envy at the end, which will be a lot of fun.
Which is always super exciting.
Yeah, really great. I'm pretty sure we're going to do the same format where we have 2 groups, and then it is, you can play as many as you want. So it'll be a round-robin kind of event again. So details to be confirmed, but we will definitely post those pieces of information as soon as we've kind of finalised them, and we'll definitely have them ready for the next cast, and we'll start talking about them then as well. So
absolutely. So if you've never played in any of our leagues before, free to enter, sponsored by the fine folk Josh and Pat Tim, and they're usually around 500 worth of cash and some on stream. Normally what we do is play some league games. Every match that you play in that given week is an entry. We do that sort of thing. I'm not sure exactly what we're going to do for this league, but that's the sort of thing we've done in the past. So awesome value. Just come free to play, get stuff, awesome community, super fun. Get in on it.
Love it. So yeah, I think that probably is everything we need to chat about this week. So yeah, Josh and Pat's MTG Bazaar, we'll always talk about them. Go check them out. If you want to find links to anything, the best place is just the website, magicbeanscast.com. We have YouTube, Facebook, Twitch, Twitter. I've been streaming a bunch of Commander pretty much every Tuesday night at the moment. I've been on playing all sorts of different types of Commander decks.
Brewing decks, CEDH. Yep. Yeah, it's been good.
It's been a lot of fun. So yeah, come hang out with us on a Tuesday night. Once Shorty's back, I'm sure he'll want to get back into his Monday night streams. So I think we'll have him back for the next cast in a fortnight. Actually.
Potentially, yeah. Whether he's going to be on or not, we'll see.
Yeah, he should be back in the state at least, I think.
Yeah.
So that'd be good. But otherwise, yeah, if you want to support us directly, you can do that through our merch store. We have a Redbubble. You can buy, all the things you can possibly put merch on: hats, caps, t-shirts, playmats, all that fun stuff. And anything that we do get as proceeds from those just go straight back into the league, straight back into the Envy. We're not getting rich off any of this stuff. We just love that you guys are, interested and happy to support us, and we just want to throw more Magic cards at you because then you get to play them, and that's good for everybody. So yeah, please go check all that out. The best place to hang out, as we say every time, Discord. That's where everything is run from. That's where everyone kind of is. There's a channel for everything you can think of. So come hang out there. If you wanted to chat to me directly on Twitter or X, it's still Twitter.
It's Twitter.
Yeah, you can get me at JoelHill_, and Chewy, yours is
at Chewy MTG.
Fantastic. Have a great week, everyone. Tell us what cards you're looking forward to playing in Wilds of Eldraine, because we are excited when you're excited. So tell us what you think looks cool and why, and we will talk to you in a couple of weeks.